been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
What's your name?
Yeah, it's been a while. Hey everybody, it's Joe Castillo from RGS Performance Motorcycles.
Every great build starts as a spark. A thought scribbled on a notepad, a benchtop conversation, a late night what if.
And I want to be the 10th builder in this year's FXR Tour.
At RGS Performance, that spark becomes a mission. Piece by piece, bolt by bolt, the idea evolves. The frame gets stripped, the motor gets reborn, and the vision gets louder. There are long nights, setbacks, breakthroughs, and those moments where the only thing pushing you forward is passion. But that's the beauty of a true build. It transforms you as much as the machine. And when the last bolt is torqued, when the turbo spools for the first time, when the bike finally rolls under its own power, that's the moment the idea becomes real. This is the journey from concept to creation. This is the RGS way.
So I've been working basically in my brain for this bike for the last probably 3 years. I wanted, I love the FXR, the frame, the setup, the drivetrain. So that's what I wanted was, hey, I want my FXR to be, twin cam powered, fuel injected, turbocharged, and something I can ride cross country. We're like 6 hours from Phoenix. We're 10 hours from, the rest of the big cities in Texas. So really, I think what we, work with and customers' bikes and our bikes as well, I would say they're more performance touring because we've got to be able to go long distance, on our bikes. We got to be dependable and, plenty of power when we need to, pass on the freeway and things like that. So the frame is a 1991 FXRs frame that we picked up basically online. We found one. It was a salvage frame. We knew that we probably need a little bit of work, which was fine because the goal was to set it up for twin cam. Once we blast it and check for any cracks or imperfections, we knew we were going to be molding it anyway. So, we molded it, fixed everything in the frame, just made sure it was all straight, and then went ahead, twin cam setup and powder coat. We did go through a couple of powder coat iterations with it. I think the first color was Dragon Blood Red, which kind of gave it a kind of a maroon look, and I just hated it. I think too, even that color was hard for me to get out of because all of my bikes are black. They're either gloss, flat, maybe a pinstripe or two, and that's about it. So it really was trying to get me out of my comfort zone to, hey, let's get something a little bit brighter. Let's get a red. The Diablo Red Candy had just come out with Prismatic, so we decided to go with that. And there's still, even with that, we went through a couple of different bases as well to get the one we wanted. So it's an alien gray base with a Diablo Candy powder over it. And our painter was great at matching the paint to the powder coat that we did. As far as the chassis goes, I really wanted something that was going to be more of a, like I said, a performance touring setup. Something light, plenty of power, and kind of go back to that sport bike feel. So we went with Gigacycles to get the drop triple trees for the front and then run Suzuki Gixxer front end. So that kind of started us on that path of, well, you know, let's get it really, let's go ahead and go all, you know, all performance on it. So, you know, that came with the Tokiko brakes and, you know, really good suspension. So we went ahead and rebuilt the front end with Racetech internals, a little heavier for a little bit heavier bike. And then ran Tokiko's front and rear. As far as the rear, we went with the Öhlins. And, you know, just again, we wanted a really, really great suspension for, you know, riding in the curves and getting up the mountains. Again, we're really close where we're at to New Mexico, northern Arizona, and places like that. So, you know, we do a lot of riding in canyons. So really wanted to make sure it performed great in those areas. So we've been working with Lindell for several years now. You know, we talk to guys out there, we talk to Blaze all the time about what we're building and really wanting, you know, again, performance in our builds here. And I run Lindell on my Road Glide, and I definitely want to incorporate it with this build. And again, it was one of those things getting out of my comfort zone, and it's like, hey, let's go all chrome rockers. It's like, okay, right on, man. And let's get the matching rotors, heck yeah. So even though we're running Tokiko brakes, Lindell does make the pads for those too. So, you know, it's all Lindell wheels, rotors, and pulley. And really everything fit great. Even when it came to spacers and things like that, you know, we're able to measure out the spacers that we need, call them up, and they had all the spacers that we need in stock. So that's great. That makes it so much easier too. You know, of course, you know, we have to make the axle spacers and spacers for everything, which I don't know how many days I spent making spacers, but you know, when it came to rotors and pulley spacers, basically we gave them measurements, and you know, they're able to ship them to us really quickly. So that helped us kind of keep in line with our time frame that we had. You know, I think that one of the things that I really wanted to do to also, you know, kind of be different and kind of go back to the performance aspect, you know, was to, again, make it lighter. Of course, you know, big power, lighter bike, lighter me, everything. It's just like, you know, we'll get more out of it. And my buddy Harrison Brooks from Rev Limit in Lubbock, you know, grew up here in the area too, and you know, really great shop friends. And you know, we talked about this probably 2 years ago at Born Free, when we first went out there. And I said, man, I want to build this FXR. And you know, I said, but you know, I really don't want to put a big heavy fairing on the front. And you know, we talked about it. He goes, hey man, let's you know, I'll do an aluminum fairing. He's an awesome fabricator, great metal worker, does cars, bikes, everything. And he goes, we'll make an aluminum fairing for you. And, you know, that would be one thing. I mean, definitely well worth it, worth the wait. It is tough because we, you know, kind of get a little bit behind. We're 6 hours away. So, you know, we're talking all the time. Hey, this is what we got going on. Didn't quite work out with this aluminum setup. We're going to do a different setup. But you know, it was definitely worth the wait. I mean, the fairing only weighs 4 pounds, and it's super solid. Again, we just did 1,700 miles, so you know, it definitely held up to all the wear and tear for sure on the highway. But just looks super great. We made it a little bit narrower and shorter than a standard FXR T fairing. Again, we didn't want it to overwhelm the bike. So it worked out great with running a turbo as well. So really happy with the airflow in the turbo, the looks of the fairing, the performance of the fairing was great. The side covers also are aluminum to match. Again, you know, one of those things. You know, we're trying to keep the weight down for performance, but also it's got to function correctly. So one of the things that I wanted also was I wanted it to be, super easy to ride, super functional, real familiar. So we decided to go with a 2015 Electric Glide canvas system. I wanted all my gauges, running the COSO gauges, digital gauges on it. And, really, I guess that would be the simplest way, even keeping cruise control and things like that. So, my controls are basically, 2015 up, with the key delete. So, just one button start, which is great, super easy. We're running a Thundermax ECU and a BCM. So I have a fob and everything is built in on it. However, it is a huge harness. So, we thought, great, we'll have a plenty of room in our battery box, to hide this big harness and our ECM and BCM and everything. And when it came time to actually lay it out, man, we were dissecting that harness like crazy. So we really, narrowed it down to what we needed to use, what we had to use, and then everything else was eliminated. But again, I think that if you really do want like cruise control, again, performance touring and everything, I think still that's the easiest or best way to go. And if it wasn't turbocharged, we probably just run a standard ECU in it and tune it and run it that way. So it'd be, basically, similar to a 15 Street Glide. That way we can keep all of our gauges. I like having a separate speedo and separate tack. And then with the COSO, you get the actual oil temperature and then the voltage and then everything else that comes along with it. So again, making it more like my regular touring bike. The first day that we fired it up, we have harness hanging out all over the bike. Basically, we didn't have the tank for it. We're using we're running an FXDX tank because again, we wanted a little more fuel than a regular FXR tank, and also the aircraft style fuel cap and things like that. So we're like, hey, we're gonna modify this tank to fit. Everything's at paint, and we need to fire this bike up. So we ended up using a fuel tank off of a Street Glide that we had here in the shop, just because it had the fuel pump, had everything set up. So basically, we strapped it to the bike just so we could get fuel to it accurately, so that we could fire it up. Of course, nothing is ever perfect on first fire up. So we got it started. It actually started the first time, and then it wouldn't start again. So we're like, oh man, there's something going on, something happening, and chasing wires, chasing everything. And it turns out it was a bad right-hand control switch. So we're like, man, all right. So, averted, right? Let's go get another, right-hand control switch, get another hand control switch. Starts right up, starts again, and then we started getting a bunch of errors too. So again, it was, going through electrical troubleshooting. I think that we spent probably a weekend doing nothing but troubleshooting harness, troubleshooting hand controls. But once that got over with, then we got it to start and then run regularly. So that was a great thing. We had a really good base map already set up, because we do turbos quite often here. So had a great base map to go ahead and get it set up and then get it ready to start dyno. So when we dyno tuned this bike and we put it up on there, it was a Street Glide tank strapped to the frame with half the harness still hanging out. But we needed to get it tuned. So, we did basically all of our break-in and dyno tuning with that setup before the paint arrived. Now the lights, people have asked us about, our lighting setup on it. So I wanted, again, have it more of a performance touring setup. I run Bajas on my Road Glide too. So we run Baja lights on this setup, and had all 3D printed mounts for everything in the fairing and the rear. Now the only problem with the rear, I was really getting wrapped around the axle with how are we going to run Bajas in the rear? They don't make anything that's 3-function rear, and then they're also really, honestly, they're really, really bright. So we ended up doing was 3D printing the mounts, gutting the S1, and then running Custom Dynamics internals. That way we can have all the functions. And again, going back to that BCM, we can program everything. So that makes it super simple for us, 15 and up canvas system. Let's program it for LEDs, and everything, worked out great. Actually, it was probably the easiest thing about the build was probably the lighting of all things. Once we got that, what we were waiting for was paint. We tuned it, had a dyno. The only thing is now we're ready to take it on the street. I had basically 1 day to run it to Las Cruces and back, which is about 90 miles. But that was it. So once we got the paint back, it was all hands on deck. Let's get me some help in here, and let's get this thing put together. So everything went together easily. We'd already mocked it up once. We used a lot of the ARP bolts that we ordered through Alloy Bolts. So we'd already mocked it up before, so it's just basically putting it all back together. Enrique with Incast Customs is the one that painted it for us. And again, he did a great job of really matching the powder coat, because that was one of my things is, if we're going to powder coat and paint, I want to make sure it all matches up. So even in different lighting and everything, it really does match up really well. And then we also use a Cerakote for the pinstriping, which is what we used on the mounts, on the controls and everything. If you look at the windows and the risers, the swing arm and everything, that's all Cerakoted as well. And that's something that Enrique can do. We also have atomic powder coating. Atomic powder coating is the one that, powder coated my frame, I think 3 times to make sure we, got what we wanted. And then, pretty much, powder coated everything that we needed to coat it on this thing. The inside of the fairing is a black mini texture. So I still wanted to be able to see the welds in the inner fairing. So that worked out really well with the build, for sure. I'm telling you what, it was an honor to be a part of the tour. I think that the people, Scott, Justin, Rob, everybody that is organizing that thing, just a great group of people. And I think what makes it different than any other run or ride or anything like that is how inclusive everybody is. How welcoming everybody is. It doesn't matter where you're from. Everybody, rides. If somebody breaks down, everybody's helping to make sure they can get their bike back together and really, like Jordan, man, from Louisiana, running bearings. All right, let's go and just let's haul it around until we can get it fixed and fix it on the road. Let's fix it in the parking lot, and let's get it going. Anthony and his buddy too, from Phoenix, let's put a swing arm in at Speed Dealer. All that kind of stuff is just, that's what makes it. It's like, people working together and getting their bikes and riding together. So that makes it great. We're just, we're a small shop from El Paso, Texas, and just, we really, are proud of what we do and what we're building, but to be included in something that's really outside of our area, outside of here, just made it awesome for us, for our shop, and for all my friends and family that that attended the whole thing, from riding the tour to Born Free, Texas. You know, I think that one of the things about our build too is, you know, it's not just me, it's not just our shop, it's the support of our friends and family. I think that makes it so much different. You know, my buddy Ariel, Breezy Baggers, man, coming in, hey, I can give you a couple of days and help with some wiring management. I'm like, thank God, you know, come in and help me get rid of this rat's nest, you know, and help us get this stuff tied up. And, you know, always like, hey, what do you need? You know, I've got a contact, you know, with bolts. I've got a contact with this. Blaze at Lindell too. Hey, what do you need? You know, do you need anything? You know, just that, and you know, of course the other builders with our chats and stuff. And you know, maybe it's some of it's sarcastic, but at least, you know, you get a break from, hey man, I've got a deadline, I need to get this thing done. You know, so that was awesome too. You know, because I mean, just such a great group of people. You know, all the you know, all of my fellow builders and builders that had built before and attending these events and everything, with their insight too. It's one of those things that it really pushes you to do the best you can do. You know, but pushes you to meet your goals, maybe get out of the box a little bit, but motivates you. You know, again, I think that, you know, for me, it was a lot of, you know, putting things aside to concentrate on getting this done, getting everything fitted correctly. I mean, everything's got to be just right. I mean, it's, you know, a lot of little details and things like that. But if it wasn't for, you know, my friends and family and the shop, then, you know, we would never finished it. And this is my bike. I mean, I've been wanting to build this bike for I don't know how many years now. So this really motivated me to get it done and then be able to ride it. You know, the ride and the group of people, I mean, just amazing. I think that as great as the ride was, as great as the event and the people and everything, it was just as sad and heartbreaking to lose Chris in the event. I think you know, it was hard. It was hard on everybody to be able to finish what we all started together. But thank God that really we all did. I think that if we hadn't have continued and finished the ride, the tour that we all started together, I think that, you know, it would not have you know, been, I don't know, it would not have been a good memory and a good honor for Chris Maurer. You know, I definitely, you know, want to thank my sons, you know, Adam and Noah, you know, for really, you know, helping me stay on track and helping take care of day-to-day business so that I could, you know, work on this bike. You know, Adam took care of the shop while I was working on the FXR. Noah being patient with me with my different color selections of all the powder coat and things like that, because we do all that here in-house. You know, taking on more so that they would free up some time. You know, it was kind of tough for us too, because we weren't one of the first 10 builders. We kind of came on after our buddy Adam dropped out. So, you know, fortunately, I kind of kept going kind of on my own, just doing small things. And I figured, okay, well, I'll finish it for Born Free. That was my goal. Let me finish it. I want to take it to Born Free. And then when Adam dropped out, it was like, oh man, holy smokes, no Sturgis, no, no additional runs, no additional anything. And it's, let's build this bike, because, that's one thing, is that I definitely wanted to make sure that we had a great running bike, for this tour. And that way also too, it was something going to be for me personally, hey, I'm finishing my project. This is again my bike build that I've been trying to get done, for several years. My friends here, especially our crew, really, helping me stay focused. Even just asking, I know, sometimes, maybe I didn't give them a really positive answer sometimes, but hey, how's the bike coming? How's the build going? Just that, with Lane and Ariel and Dwayne, all my friends, hey man, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go there. Hey, cool. I'm gonna set out of this one because we need to work on the FXR, but they're with me along the way, and also too doing the ride. It's like, hey, we'll do the ride with you, man. We'll do the tour with you. So that's also a super positive thing too. And then of course my family. I think my wife's sick and tired of freaking hearing about FXRs for sure. She asked, is it done yet? I'm like, no, babe, it's not quite done yet. We're traveling. We've got to ride. It's got to make the ride. We got to do it. She's like, oh, well, okay, be good. Just be safe. I'm like, all right, be safe. But we were in the voting part of it as well. And oh my gosh, I think I had the Purduettes from Indiana, from Purdue University, voting for us to get us in the FXR build. So I was reaching out to everybody. Hey, let's get some votes and try to be the 10th builder. We didn't make it, right out of the gate, which is fine, but people still did keep in touch and still followed us. So that would be another huge, thank you to the FXR Tour. Scott Justin. Scott, really puts it out there, keeps everything going, updated. And if we sent, any of the tour stuff going on, we would still send build stuff and everything too, just kind of keep it going. But he really promoted the event. And he and Justin just worked their asses off to put something together. The logistics of it is really difficult. So I really am grateful to those guys. They put together a great event, a great opportunity for people, but also a super inclusive, event as well. That everybody felt comfortable, riding. It doesn't matter if you have an FXR or not, but doing the tour is something that I definitely want to do again. And shoot, I'd love to bring my sons out there and have them ride the same event with us.